Finally, the ultimate Black Clover mobile tier list. Hey guys, welcome back. Here we are with the full tier list of Black Clover Mobile as you requested. In this video, I'm gonna talk about all of the characters in different tiers and we're gonna see who works best in each situation. Alright, I divided my tier list in 4 different categories. Okay, the first one would be must have. So each character that goes over here is indispensable and you kind of must have them in the game so that you can do like different contents. And then great value, other characters that could be interchangeable but still they're giving lots of value in the game and you want to consider them as well. And then we're gonna have like sometimes some characters that work sometimes in different situations that could be still worthy. And then a few early game characters that you could start with and then kind of like you'll forget about them in the later on in the game, but still pretty good in early game. And let's start. So I'm gonna do with the early game, starting when you're just started the game. Obviously there are a few characters that you can still use and could be super helpful, like this Asta. He could be useful for you just early game because he has increased attack and damage dealt on boss. So different bosses that you fight, you can deal more damage with this Asta. Also this Yami, he could also be a type advantage, especially when doing red dungeon, and his passive increases damage on red enemies. So that's how these two could be useful for you early game, especially in PvE, doing dungeons, different bosses, and so on. Other than these two, we also have like good for early game. I could say this Nozel could also be good. He reduces enemies' attack and mobility, so your team could attack faster and also could get hit by less damage. This Mars as well, he's also a good defender, could carry your team, a tanky one, like earlier stages in the game, he could carry your team and, you know, do different challenges. So that's why these 4 would be good. And I think there are also more, like this Merlona. Even though she's a limited character, I don't think she'll be really good later on. So maybe early game in PvP could be useful because she's immune to stun, she's a defender, has the mana skin to reduce damage taken, and also increases damage dealt on the enemies based on the continuous burn attack that we have. And that being said, I could say this Fugo could also be a little bit useful, like early game. Again, they're not really good units, okay? I don't want you to invest like highly on them. This is just early game. You can build them up a little bit so that you can do different challenges and again get better characters. Who else I can put in this part? I guess where's the red Yami, like the one, yeah, this one. So he's also good early game. He has AoE damage on his first skill. I still sometimes use him when I'm dealing with a crowd and I just want to do automatic like clearance of any stages. Since he deals AoE damage on his first skill with 0 cooldown, then he could also be useful early game. And this even though again like Merlona, he's a limited character, he's not pretty good in like upper levels, so just early game he could be useful, especially in PvP because he can silence the enemy, total silence them, and also remove silence on himself and reduce mobility, does AoE on second skill, heavy damage on his ult, so he could be useful on PvP. 2 more characters good for early game are this one, Rades and Voltos. These 2 would also be good early game, especially in PvP. So if you want to do PvP early game, you could do maybe this one. I know these 2 are limited, so you can get these 2 for free and then maybe use Yami, or well, you also get Charlotte. So anyway, like these 2 would be good in early game PvP. He lifts up barrier, he increases attack, so he could pair up with Yami to increase attack, but you won't use them later on, obviously, because we have better characters, better barriers, and also better increased magic attack like Sully. And it's not also in order. I forgot to mention this. Like, it's not like this is better than this one. I'm just putting them side by side to see who works well with each other, and they're not in order. So these 10 characters would be, I think, pretty good early game. Now moving to sometimes, so I'm gonna explain like different characters why they're sometimes good. We'll start with this Finral. So he could also go upper to great value, but I think I'm gonna keep him here for now, and you'll see why later on. So he is sometimes, most of the times I gotta say good, because he increases attack, he increases speed. You can use him also in PvP with them, and also in PvE. He would be really good, as I mentioned, increase attack, increase speed, and also increase crit rate. The free Charlotte that you get also would be good over here, because she reduces defense of the enemy. She marks them, so when you kill a marked enemy, you get an extra turn, and also reduces attack of the enemy. That's why this Charlotte would be really good as well. Probably they could go, both of them, they could go here to the great value, but I'm just keeping this for like really good characters. So that's why I'm just putting her here. Like, consider this like A tier or something, okay? This Noelle could also be really good sometimes, especially because she attacks all of the enemies again. When you're dealing with a crowd, she does AoE damage, first skill, last skill, the ult as well. And with her second skill, she can gain a barrier for herself and everyone else in the team, and also does counterattack. So basically she does everything, and that's why she is really good now. I remember when she came up, she was one of the best units, but obviously we get better and better characters, so she will be over here sometimes. And I use her most of the time when I'm doing continuous battle, like when I'm dealing with a crowd. So she could be really useful and does lots of damage, but she only attacks AoE, so she can't do a single attack target. That's why maybe she won't be good like dealing with bosses and so on. Speaking of bosses, when you do world boss, this Yami could be useful only in world boss. Like he could only work in world boss, okay, nowhere else. You basically do his first skill 4 times to get all the buffs that he has, and then do his ult to deal lots of damage, like more than 300% increased attack or increased damage dealt on the enemy when you do 4 times his first skill. That's why he could go crazy in world boss, but nowhere else. That's why sometimes he could be useful, right? Again, since we're on the bosses and like daily bosses, this Noelle and this Noelle could be useful during daily bosses. This one, the first one, could remove 2 debuffs from your allies and also 2 continuous damage from all of your allies. That's why she could be a really good supporter or healer for you. And then this one could remove all the all the buffs from the enemy. That's crazy. Like with her ult, she can remove all the buffs from the enemy. That's why these 2 would work well on different daily bosses, but I don't think like anywhere else you can use them. I mean, they're not that crazy. That's the only thing that I can tell about these 2, but still could be useful when doing daily bosses. More characters. Let's talk about Magna. He used to be better, like over here, great value, because he could stun the enemies and deals lots of damage. But when Jester came out, this bad boy, and can immune all of the team to stun, and now he just dropped his value to over here. But he could still be sometimes useful, because not everyone uses like the Jester, and also he can still deal lots of damage with the continuous damage dealt. Speaking of damage, this Zora could also deal lots of damage. He is purple and he is passive, and special skills, everything is based on dealing damage on yellow golden enemies. So if you have the type advantage, which is super hard because he only has type advantage over yellow golden enemies like Lumiere, like this Gray or Valkyrie Noelle, he can deal extra damage on them because he has the increased attribute damage with his skills and also his passive. But when you dupe him, he has the increased damage dealt based on the enemies, the number of enemies that are alive, and also the number of your team members that are dead. So it's kind of like really unique and pretty not easy to play with, but he can do lots of damage. That's why sometimes he could be useful. Oh, I'm just gonna put him here. Yeah, this Charlotte could also sometimes be useful when doing mono blue team. There was also another character, the other Vengeance. Where is it? This one. So these two, when you're doing mono blue team, they could be useful. She can inflict silence on all of the enemies when you're using mono blue team, and also other than that, she can do counter attack on your characters. And then this Vengeance, again, when you're doing mono blue team, can grant one of your, like, the highest attacker in your team protection. So let's say you're doing Raya, like a mono blue team could be this one, for example. Okay, I'm just putting these two here to explain. So these four could be your mono blue team. She will silence the enemy, grounds counter attack for your Raya, and then he would give protection to your Raya, and then Kaiser can reduce damage taken, and again does counter attack on everyone, and then Raya is based on counter attack and crit rate, and then does lots of damage. So that's how these two could work, but it's just sometimes just for like mono blue teams. That's why I'm putting them over here. Now moving on, we can have this gray over here. She is kind of useful. Sometimes you can't pair her up with other yellow characters, so she has to be the only yellow character in your team. That's why sometimes could be useful with the conversion rate of her special skill that reduces damage taken or increases damage dealt on the enemies. Also increases defense of your characters. That's why she's powerful, but you can build her up with other yellow characters. Still, she's sometimes good. And who else do we have over here? Yeah, this Lotus as well. He's really good early game, but also later on, sometimes he could be, again, useful because he increases damage dealt on the enemies and extends debuff on the enemy. So he has extra value compared to other characters over here, and that's why I'll put him in the sometimes list. Other characters, again, like this because with his ult you can increase damage dealt on the enemy, and also applies a concentrated attack debuff on the enemy again. That basically means that after that, whoever attacks him would land a crit, like will deal damage as a crit. That's why he could be sometimes good as well over here. And then who else do we have? Come on, let's speed up the video a little bit. Or in this part, yeah, this Fauna could also be sometimes useful because she deals lots of damage with the hatred and everything else. Probably could be good in world boss again, but like in frame challenges as well, she could be useful. So sometimes this Scotch as well, he used to be better, but now we have like obviously way more better characters, like supporter characters in the game, but still he can increases the weapon enhancement to increase damage dealt, and also has the sunlight, what was the name, sunlight intensity or something, to increase the attack and damage dealt of your characters up to 30%. So he could be a good supporter. And the last one that I want to add to this list is the other Zora, because I still like him. He is one of my other favorite characters in the game till now, because with his defense type that he has on his ult is just crazy. So when you do his ult, he reduces, let me check the numbers again. So when you do his ult, he reflects 300% of the attack to one of the enemies. So let's say you you do the reflection trap on one of your characters, so you buff your character with the reflection trap, and then you reflect 300% of that attack on the enemy, and then also you mitigate the damage taken by 20% and increases the defense by 245%. That's like the level 5 of it. That's insane. Okay, that's why I like him so much. He's actually one of my favorite characters in the game. It's just like too bad that all the meta teams and everything else can't go around with him, and he's not like, he doesn't have any other good characters for his team to support. But still, if you do a mono blue team, again, as I said, like these three plus Raya could be super helpful. Yeah, just consider that as well. So this will be the sometimes good characters that could be useful in different scenarios. Now let's move on to the great value character. So this could be easier, obviously. 2 mimosas, both of them are great. You need to have at least one of them because they're the best healers in the game. Both of them are great. The first one, I talked about them before. The first one scales up with her magic attack. This one scales up with her HP, and this one heals one of your characters. This one heals all of your characters. But if you level this one, the second one, to 125, and then each turn you can get 15% of her HP as heal for all of your characters. So let's say if you have 100 HP, like 100,000 HP on her, you can heal 15k every turn, all of your characters, and obviously the higher the more. So these two would be great value for sure. And then we have this new Conrad. I'm not gonna put him on must-have. I mean, we all get him, but you don't need to use him that much, in my opinion. Maybe you can put him here, but I just don't think he needs to be there. Like, he still has great value, maybe somewhere in between, or maybe at the end of the list. So interchangeable, either one of these two. My opinion, personally, I put him here, and we all know about him as well. Like, we have lots of videos, so I'm not gonna bore you guys again. This Gifso, oh god, he's great. Like, a few SR characters will be in this list. I talked about that. I have a video about like the secretly SSR characters, the hidden gems. Make sure to check them out. One of them is Gifso. He increases attribute damage dealt on the enemy. So especially when you're using a yellow golden character like Lumiere or Valkyrie Noel, you should definitely use Gifso so that you can increase that extra damage. Or even if you have the color type advantage in a game, like say you're attacking red enemies, you have blue characters to attack, you can still use Gifso so that you increase the attribute damage dealt. So that's an extra buff that you can have. And then speaking of the SR characters, the hidden ones, this Nebra is also one of the great characters that you need to have in your team and invest in, because she has the highest reduced defense and the highest increased damage dealt on the enemy. She reduces the enemy's defense by 70%, which is the highest, and also increases damage taken on the enemy by 60%. Again, the highest number in the game. And that's basically her second skill, and also the combined attack. That's how you're gonna use her and then deal lots of damage on the enemy. That's why I consider her for sure. All right, this Dorothy could also be here. Great value because obviously of her ult, the Nightmare. She deals level 5 debuffs on the enemy, which is random. So maybe sometimes you don't like the debuff, but all of them are great. Reduces attack, reduces damage dealt, and so on. And also she can spread the Nightmare onto all other enemies so that the whole team will get debuffs. That's why she'll be here. This Julius and this Black Raya, 2 blue attackers, great value. Julius, I have a full guide on him. He's crazy. He can stun the enemy or kill the enemy with the ult. So either he'll stun the enemy with the ult if he can't kill him, or if he kills him and then he gets an extra turn. With his second skill, he can increase the cooldown of the enemy's team, and also revives. If you dupe him, he revives basically one more time, and then you can start fresh. This Raya as well, he can deal crazy lots of damage when you build him based on counterattack and crit rate. So those are the 2 main things that you need to consider with this Raya. And then who else do we have here? This Kaiser could be also here, great value, maybe must have, but still I'm just gonna put him here. Obviously a great character, reduces damage taken, counter attack, increases crit rate, increases attack, everything. Like, he's one of the great characters. Maybe here again, but I'm just gonna put him here. This Valkyrie Noel, I'm not gonna put her must have because you can't go again with other yellow characters or other defenders. So you just can't use her by herself, and other characters can't be Kaiser, can't be Black Asta. She needs to be the only defender in your team. Since that limits her options, I'm just gonna put her over here, great value and not must have, but still she's great. She can deal lots of damage, she has type advantage and all those kind of stuff. All right, I think I have two more characters over here. This Fiogo, he is super fun and great. Like, he's again based on counter attack. I remember I had this team, these two, with who else? I don't remember who I had, but I had these two and other two characters for PvP, and then he would counter attack. He deals damage on all enemies, he heals, and if you dupe him out, he does all of those things by himself. But obviously you need someone else when you just got him to start the counter attack, and then does AoE damage on everyone. So he's crazy. That's why I'll put him over here. He's super useful. And the last character that I'm gonna put over here would be Real. Maybe he could also go over here, must have. For now I'll put him here just to make everything align, because he'll be the last character I'm gonna add in the great value. Again, it's not in order, so it doesn't mean like he's less valuable than this one. It's just I just put them over here randomly, or maybe like just to side by side to mention some teams. But he's super great. You need to have him because he reduces defense on the enemy, he inflicts damage taken on the enemy and everything else, and he could also stun them and removes buffs from the enemy. Like, he's crazy. Maybe I'll just put him here. Okay, now let's do must-haves. Super easier. Must-haves would be quicker and easier. Obviously all of these characters will be here. I'm gonna add more, but this Black Asta, one of the best universal characters in the game, does everything, attacks, defends, everything crazy. This Vanessa is only good in PvP, so if you're doing PvE, it doesn't matter. But PvP, she's great. You need to have different characters, different colors in your team, and then you can total silence the whole enemy's team. And then we have this bad boy Jester over here that can make your team immune to stun, immune to silence. Not your team immune to silence. He himself is immune to silence. Conrad as well, if you have different colors. But he'll make your whole team immune to stun, which is great. And then reduces damage taken. Removes one of the buffs on your allies, and makes all of your teams immune to debuff. This Asta again is crazy. He deals lots of damage, like crazy amount of damage, and you need just to build him up properly because he's type disadvantage and might die soon. But if you dupe him up and level him up properly with proper gears and teams, you can make him immortal and immune to damage, like this Asa and this Noel together, like these two in a team, and also two other characters that I'm gonna mention later on would be crazy. So he's super valuable, right? Speaking of supports, we have this Vengeance and this Sully, both of them best two supporters in the game. He buffs up attack, perfect for Asta, both of them, and also increases speed. This Sully increases magic attack, perfect for other characters that deal magic attack, like Raya, like Valkyrie Noel, and the first Wizard King, obviously Lumiere. So he's obviously over here, you must have him, and that's why these two, they're not good by themselves, like they can't do damage, but they're like the best supporters in the game. That's why I'm putting them over here. If you get Lumiere, you need to have Sully as well to buff him up. You need to have Gifso to buff him up, or if you don't have them, you need this one, Valtus, to support and buff him up. So that's how you can make balanced teams. And I'm gonna talk about teams comps later on in a separate video, but for now these are the characters. And yeah, let's just finish this up with Sekra, obviously like one of the best units in the game. Barriers, gains SPs, silences the enemy. This one, she makes one of your characters invulnerable. I use her with Conrad to showcase. And then this one as well, like she also reduces damage taken, fortify, and then ignores defense, increase SP of your characters, you know, best supporters in the game. And then this Witch Queen, I forgot to talk about her. Like, she is useful. She's kind of needed for Black Asa because of her ult. Reduces the HP of Black Asa to activate the anti-magic. And yeah, I think that's it. That's the full tier list of Black Clover Mobile. Any character that you need to know is ranked up over here. I talked about each one of them in detail, why they're in this like row or in this part, and how they're useful. So make sure to check the whole video so that you know the details of each character. And as I said, it's not in order, so it doesn't mean like he is the best character in the game or he's more valuable than this one. Okay, it's not in order. If I want to put in order, it's kind of like I can't do in order because they're all really good, and in like different scenarios all of them could be useful and you must have them, and they kind of like support each other. And it depends on your account as well. If you don't have this Lumiere, because he's a limited character, obviously, why is he here? Like, there's no point of him being here. You need to go for other characters. But yeah, so it's not in order. It's just basically they're super like useful, and you must have all of these characters in the first row so that you can use them in different cases, different scenarios, and then great value that could be useful very much and like interchangeable with each other. Maybe I'll put real over here just to make everything more organized, because instead of real you can still use Nebra. Instead of Nebra you can use this one, Charlotte, this one, so Lotus, what was his name, so that's why it's not like you can't have anyone else instead of them. But you can't replace Lumiere, you can't replace him, you can't replace the Witch Queen, because she buffs up and activates the anti-magic of Asa. Yeah, that's why this is the whole list. And maybe you won't agree with some of my options, some of my choices, but I'm pretty sure this is at least 99% decent and practical and useful. So just go with this tier list, or just go with whoever character you like more and you enjoy playing with them, because it's just a game. We just want to have fun, right? And yeah, that's it. I guess I'm gonna end this video. Let me know down in the comment section what are your thoughts, and if you disagree with something or if you think something else could be useful, write it in the comment section so that we can all help each other out. And obviously the other characters that I didn't mention are not useful, so I don't think you need to spend your resources on them. And if you have any questions, write it down. I'll try to help as much as I can. And yep, till next video, have fun and stay tuned.